So before I start showing you documentation that I have or some of the documentation that I have, I think there's something really important that I need to explain. People often ask someone in this situation questions. They ask questions when someone is telling a story like this. If it happened so many years ago, why do you still have the documents? Why do you still have letters and cards and emails and things like that? And they want to know, why do you have all these things if it wasn't sentimental or consensual, right? And the answer for me is pretty simple, because some parts of me during that time knew that even then, one day I might need proof. I felt like I would need proof for my family members, the friends, and all the folks that kind of looked down and shunned me because I decided not to go to church anymore. For all the decisions that I made that were in their minds anti-Christ-like, they needed. Why did they need it? It shouldn't even matter, but for some reason they needed proof for my situation that I was going through. And I needed to hold this. I needed to hold this for the therapy sessions that I had to go through, for the work that I had to do, for undoing the mental gymnastics that I put myself through to where I was just kind of self-condemning. So again, I didn't keep these things because they were sentimental. I kept them because the relationship I was in felt confusing, even while it was happening. There are moments that felt spiritual for sure. There are moments that felt supportive. There are all those types of moments, but there are also moments that things felt deeply wrong. And I did not have the vocabulary for it, especially where, what I was feeling was in direct opposition to what I was being coached and told, at the time spiritually. So let me say this, when something confusing happens inside a spiritual network or a religious environment, you don't start, you start to question yourself. You start to disbelieve yourself. You wonder if I misunderstood. You wonder if I'm being immature. You wonder doubt just sets in, and I can't overstate the impact of doubt. You wonder if you are the problem. So for me, instead of throwing things away, I kept them. I kept the emails, I kept the cards, I kept the letters, I kept the messages, I kept text messages and everything. Because documents don't rely on memory. Memory can be faulty, memory can be deceiving, but the documents, they won't do that. They show exactly what was said. So one of the first documents that I want to show you is something that I sent out years ago to people close to me. I sent it out to the people that were in the entire church network. I had access to an email list of all the church members, all the folks in high authority, all the leaders, and I sent it to every single individual in 2008, I believe it was. And in that letter, I listed the exact things that occurred. And I'll show you this right here. Not only did I send the letter and email to the entire congregation and the leaders of that organization, but I created a blog that I sent to the folks as well. And I'll attach that here in case you want to read it. So again, I'm not going to show everything. Some things I'm definitely going to keep private. Some things I'm reserving for just out of wisdom and legal reasons, right? Some things simply involve other people whose lives, they deserve their privacy regardless of how ugly and egregious the situation was. But I am going to show you enough for people to understand the pattern. The pattern is undeniable. So the documents that I'm about to show you, I'll show you in the next episodes, but they show several patterns, right? They show romantic language, they show spiritual manipulation, they show emotional dependency, financial support, even jealousy and exclusivity was a big theme that I reviewed, and conversations about ending his marriage. Each of those patterns appear in emails and letters that I'm going to show you. And so when you see these documents in context, you'll understand why I kept them for 20 years. In the next part, we're going to talk about language. We're going to start with the language because when you read the messages, the tone of the relationship becomes very clear.